Picture this. The year is 2000. You just sat down at the family computer deciding to play some video games. You have a plethora of choices, but the one you pick will most likely stick with you for the next 26 years. Of course, I'm talking about Counter-Strike. From humble beginnings to one of the biggest and greatest esports on the face of the earth. A game that started out as a mod developed by Min Guzman Lee and Jess Cliff for the original Half-Life back in 1999, after being acquired by Valve and Papa Gaben deciding to actually give it a chance. Counter-Strike saw its retail product release in the year 2000. Already popular amongst its players, the scene still in its infancy compared to the Goliath it will grow to in the years to come. Now, through the years, we would see a few different releases under the Counter-Strike IP. From the original to the much-loved 1.6 update, to Counter-Strike Source, Counter-Strike Global Offensive, and of course, the latest Counter-Strike 2. With some titles in between, like Condition Zero with its single-player experience, and of course the Counter-Strike games marketed towards the Asian market. My first experience with Counter-Strike was with Counter-Strike Source. When I was much younger, my dad used to take me to LANs that was hosted between him and a few friends. Admittedly, back then I think I was too young to fully understand how special Counter-Strike was, as at the time it didn't really play like the other arcadey shooters that I was also exposed to at these LANs. Games like Call of Duty or Medal of Honor, games like Chaser, Unreal Tournament, Quake. Counter-Strike sort of stood out as a slower, more difficult title. But that is where my experience with Counter-Strike would end for a good while. Since it didn't really feature in my gaming life, I was more into titles like Call of Duty. Call of Duty is also where I found my love in competitive gaming and the esports world. Now, I was never into MOBAs. I didn't really understand how Dota worked or what the point of League of Legends was. And quite frankly, I didn't even know titles like StarCraft existed at the time. To me, professional competitive gaming was mostly done on Call of Duty. A professional gamer was likely someone playing on a controller with an Astro headset. And if you asked me back then who the best player in the world was, he probably looked like this. This all changed on one fateful night in 2015 when I happened to stumble across the ESL 1 Cologne Major, and I was welcomed into the world of Counter-Strike esports. Now, admittedly, after watching only a handful of games, I went and purchased my copy of Counter-Strike Global Offensive and I got stuck in. And I have been hooked ever since then, putting in my hours, putting in my grind, consuming the media from the event. And that's what laser beam! To the memes.
I tried to sneak through the door, man. Can't make it. The shit's stuck. Out of my way, son! Door stuck! Door stuck!
to the dramas.
Sie stellen sich auf.
Everything. At this point in life, I ate, slept, and breathed Counter-Strike. And in many ways, I still do. Now, if you don't know what Counter-Strike is, it's a 5 versus 5 team-based first-person shooter with 2 teams of terrorists, counter-terrorists. The objectives are pretty simple. The terrorist objectives is to attack one of 2 existing sites on the map and either plant a bomb and let the bomb successfully explode, or eliminate all 5 counter-terrorist players. Now the counter-terrorists, they have to protect these 2 sites. They have to either eliminate all 5 terrorist players, successfully defuse the bomb after it has been planted, or simply cause the round timer to run out before the bomb gets planted. Commonly, every Counter-Strike game exists out of 24 rounds. The first team to reach 13 round wins the match. The game is split into 2 halves. One half you could play as the attacking team, the second half you play as the defending team. Easy to understand, easy to follow. But that is also just the tip of the iceberg. With so many mechanics coming into play, it just truly shows the actual size of this iceberg. See, Counter-Strike is a game that could take an hour to learn, but tens and thousands of hours to master, as there are subcategories like movement, shooting, economy management, timings. This isn't a hero-based shooter. The character model you play in the game is just as good as you are behind the screen. You do not have any special abilities or any special equipment that sets you apart from your teammates or the enemy team. This isn't Rainbow Six Siege, where some characters can give you a phone call to sort of figure out where you are. This definitely isn't Overwatch, where you have a healer constantly following you. What makes Counter-Strike special is the time and effort you put into it to master the craft, to learn the mechanics. Because at the end of the day, it truly is you as a player versus them as a player. It is about who picks the best spot to stand in, who moves their mouse best, who shoots first, who listens better. See, to truly understand Counter-Strike, you have to compare it to chess, where every single move matters, where every millisecond counts, where oftentimes you have to make a decision in a split second that can have a game-winning or even a game-losing outcome. It is within these mechanics that Counter-Strike can end up making other competitive titles more comparable to checkers. Admittedly, Counter-Strike is much bigger than just its esports events. Its community is very active and thriving, and I could make a safe bet to say that probably no other game on the Steam network rakes in as much money as Counter-Strike does, especially with the skins market, where digital knives, rare items, could net you thousands, where some people make a living out of these things. That is what makes Counter-Strike special. It is very diverse. Personally, throughout the years of playing Counter-Strike, I've been honored to meet some really cool people. Some people that I can call really good friends. Now, admittedly, the community isn't all smiles and friendly. It suffers from its toxicity from time to time.
Green, what's your problem, Green? What is your problem? Missile on ramp, missile on ramp.
But what competitive video game doesn't? Needless to say, Counter-Strike isn't perfect. It has its problems. Take the most recent Counter-Strike 2 release. It fell quite flat on its face. See, in 2023, Valve completely remade Counter-Strike, taking away Counter-Strike Global Offensive, rebuilding the game into their new Source 2 engine, dubbing it Counter-Strike 2. Along with this, we got a whole host of graphical updates, some mechanical changes, and addressing one of the biggest complaints from Counter-Strike Global Offensive, the server tick rate. See, up until the release of Counter-Strike 2, Counter-Strike would use 64 tick servers for their public matchmaking. This means that any data inputted by the player, like moving your character, shooting, jumping, any actions you took, would be updated in the server 64 times a second. This could also mean that if you happen to click your mouse in between two of these ticks, the server would move that to the closest tick and go about its day. Now, the biggest complaints were that sometimes this felt slow and unreliable, especially compared to 128 tick servers, more commonly found on services like Faceit or ESEA, or commonly used in pro play, like LAN events and so forth. Now, on release of Counter-Strike 2, Valve decided to show us their big brain and give us a system called sub-tick. This isn't really 128 tick, nor is it 64 tick. It's sort of a mix of the two. See, instead of having set amount of ticks per second, the servers take the player's input and register them as ticks. So for example, if you happen to click your mouse, that would count as a tick on the server. This would lead to more responsive servers and more reliable feedback from the server itself. In Valve's own words, what you see is what you get. Yeah, we all know how that turned out. Or sometimes even the character models just doing weird things. Like my personal favorite, the Michael Jackson peak. Or the peeker's advantage being absurd. So absurd at times that it made the most feared and respected weapon in the game sometimes feel redundant because you could not reliably hold a tight angle. This also seemed to spawn a 17-year-old Russian demon that would rule the pro scene. Amongst these things, there were other issues. The game itself just not feeling like Counter-Strike. This was a big complaint even in the pro scene, with some professional players taking a longer or extended break from the game until Valve decides to actually do something about it. But up to now, most of these issues have been addressed. Now, there have been some questionable updates since its release. The trading up system, for example. See, skins in the game are acquired by either directly buying them from third-party websites or the Steam marketplace, or most people's preferred method of choice, gambling.
Now, you gotta do it, Gavin. You better do it.
You could get one of a few different cases by playing the game, or again buying the cases, and then you could buy a key for a chance to receive one of the items within this case, from something exceedingly rare like gloves or a knife, or something more common. Now skins, I could make a whole different video on skins itself. They have float values, different wear types, different patterns. All of these things affect its resale value and its initial value. At this point, knives and gloves were the holy grail. These were only obtainable by physically purchasing them or unboxing them, with super low chances of actually getting a knife. Now previously, you could use 10 weapons with skins to trade them up into something more valuable. However, you could never trade up into something like a knife, which kept the prices of knives very high. This was until Valve released the update where you could trade up 5 covert skins, the highest tier of weapon skins in the game, to receive a knife. The market crashed overnight. It was so bad that there were reports of people committing suicide because of this, from millions in lost investments in CS skins, ruined by one update. So yes, needless to say, Counter-Strike is in no means perfect. Or one of the biggest problems still haunting the Counter-Strike community to date is the cheater problems. See, cheaters are rampant in public matches. And unfortunately, it doesn't feel like Valve is doing much to stop them. Since the release of Counter-Strike 2, we've heard very little in terms of a proper anti-cheat system. The only mention being the VAC Live, but seeing the VAC Live system in action is almost more rare than unboxing a knife. Now, whether Valve is secretly working on some big AI anti-cheat in the background, we don't know. They do not tell us. We haven't heard a squeak from them about it. Yet the diehard community is still here. We still love the game, we still follow it. So the question remains, why do we, the diehard community, love and stay with a game that feels like it hates us? With a developer that sometimes feels like it is completely neglecting us? It's simple. It's for those small, special moments. Doesn't matter how mad you get at the game. You can have a truly tilting game of Counter-Strike. So bad that you could completely uninstall it from your computer. Be done with it. Maybe go play something else. Just to realize there is nothing to replace Counter-Strike. It is a drug within its own right. But it's not just the gameplay. It is the community. It is the esports scene. It is when we look past these issues that we could truly find the magic in Counter-Strike. It is the highs from a good event.
Down and out, just perfecto and simple. He needs a multi-kill, first found, Twist aggressing. They have to double peek, he's getting his shot, he's hitting another one! Simple, no!
Those truly goosebump
But look at the
moments.
time! Look at the time, there's 7 seconds to got the bomb! They're trying to build pyramids, but there's no more play! Stewie's wandering around!
When we get to see a legend in the making.
First base is a Dren. He's going to hit the ground there as Cold. Oh! What? A jumping double from Cold! What is...
Or sometimes even witness history being carved
Calling
into
well above
stone.
his years, clearing. Oh no! You're an animal! Heroic have done it!
Those truly tilting rounds as well. Because within all of those moments, it is when we realize what makes Counter-Strike special.
No way! Magic from Van Delken! And an orchestra of cheers!
See, the past weekend, I got to watch the IEM Cologne Major. And it was a really good event. There were some upsets that nobody really saw coming. There were some bad games, there were some really good games happening as well. But I think the most special thing was the end of the event. Firstly, it started like this.
Composition. The assembly of players into a coherent structure. A system of parts bound by fundamentals. Constructed to perform. Setting the rhythm. Fortifying the ensemble. Orchestrating the arrangements. Positioning for colossal impact. Striking in the perfect moment. Strength measured in individual prowess. Success achieved only in harmony. A symphony of synergy and power, in which each instrument may step out of the shadow into the spotlight.
"10 years since these halls were blessed with a major. The cathedral, revered by players as a monolith of competition. Today, legacy and major forms the true endgame. Please welcome into the Cathedral of Counter-Strike, it's Falcons! Entry, Kaisuke! Anchor, Tersis! IGL, Garrigan! AWP, Monacy! Rifle, Nico! And their opponents, please welcome Furia! entry, Yakinda. Anchor, Yuri. IGL, Fallen. AWP, Molodoy. Rifle, K. Serato.
That within its own right gave me goosebumps, knowing what is at stake in this game to come. Now the finals had Falcons versus Furia, two fairly heavyweight contenders in the competitive pro scene. Now with the final event coming up, we got to see something truly special. I'm talking about this player right here. Nikolai Nico Kovac, a veteran player in the scene. Being a pro player pretty much since 1.6 days, Nico has been around for a while. He has attended quite a few major events, and to this date, he has yet to win a single major trophy. He has come enticingly close, so close at times that he could probably feel the trophy being ripped from his hands.
And it's simple and bit. Times it to perfection. And simple sitting. No! Disaster! An absolute disaster!
That was it! That was the game!
Chad, that was it! Mirage was one click away! Oh my!
It became a running joke in the Counter-Strike community that Nico has the major curse. And yet, despite having the toughest quarterfinal and semi-final run in the entire major, taking on the number 1 and number 3 teams in the world, Falcons finally got to the grand final. This was the moment when Nico could either confirm his major curse was a real thing, or he could go on to actually make history. And make history they did.
Monacy looking for an opening. Yakinda hidden out behind the boards, catches flag from the HG, one back, finds Fallen. Who moves first? Nico doesn't know about Fallen. Trying to bait a reaction, get some info for free. You've won 4 rounds on this T side, all you need is one more. And Nico, he's removed the head! The head honcho! The godfather of Brazilian Counter-Strike is down, and now he can pull the strings from the grave. But Falcons want it. They've got the advantage. In this moment, in this round, in this cathedral, every headshot is a prayer answered. Molodoi's missed it. Tessers hasn't. A little bit back. Keiserato got to Kiyosuke. On the precipice of long-awaited glory. This day is theirs. This day is his.
10 years! In the 17th time of asking, Nico has his major!
No longer will he be haunted by Boston. No longer tormented by Stockholm. Because he is forever a major champion in Cologne.
An agonizing wait, but this is pure euphoria. The top of the Counter-Strike world. Dreams finally realized.
See, after 17 attempts, Nico finally got to lift his very own major trophy. And I know to people outside the scene, people unfamiliar with what is going on, it might look strange. A grown man with tears in his eyes, smacking his desk from joy, being so happy about winning a trophy for playing a video game well. But it is to us, the followers, the enjoyers, the fans, the truly addicted, it is us who understands what it took to get there. And that is pretty special. So congratulations to Team Falcons, congratulations to Nico and his first major win. Hopefully it's not the only one. My name is Lockett. You can call me Mr. Lockett. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.
His first year of Tier 1 professional Counter-Strike, and they make that walk.
Cologne! You know what time it is! I don't want you to have any voice left as we celebrate something truly special. Your Intel Extreme Masters, your Cologne Major Champions, it's all theirs. Falcons!